Hello, welcome to PJ and Dunkley. This is a horses to follow edition. So get your notepads out, get your pens, your bookies pens ready. We're going to take you through three each of our favourite horses to follow this season. I'm joined once again by Paul Jacobs. Paul, I hope the list's good.
Yeah, there is a list. I mean, I put an original list up on easyodds.com, but I've chosen three of that list to push forward. Now we've sort of gone, the best part of 2 months in the main body of the season.
Right, I'm going to kick things off with my first one. That's Sempre Medici, who is a Willie Mullins horse. He was fourth as a 2-year-old in the Crown Criterion Ball at Saint-Cloud back in 2012. He's now with Willie Mullins. He showed a really effortless display in a court maiden hurdle just 2 weeks ago. He tracked the leaders in third for most of the race, made his challenge round the home turn. I was very taken with that performance. He wasn't exactly fluent over many of his hurdles, but as Willie Mullins has shown in the past, Paul, the first run and the second run is so different because he knows he like many trainers, he sees what they can do on the first run, especially these imports from France, and then he works and works and works on them and turns them into champions. He pulled away from Walter Freedom really easily. I'm not really sure what he beat in that race. He was pretty heavy. He was a heavy odds on. He was 4-1 on, in fact. But he was listed level on the flat in France. He could be very good through the season. He looks a very pacey 2-mile horse. I want to be on wherever he goes next.
It's just a starter for him, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's an
exactly.
education. You don't know until he steps up in grade. But I think the big thing with these newcomers in hurdles is a high cruising speed is always a big asset, isn't it? And he's got that in drivers.
Exactly. Who's first on your list?
All of mine are fairly sort of high profile horses. I'm going to go for Shunt the Front Door, and what I want you to do is I want you to, even at a big price now, lay him for the National, because he won't run in the National. He's going to win the Gold Cup. Having won at Carlisle, he's now going to go straight from Carlisle to the Lexus Chase for John Joe O'Neill, which he did with another certain Gold Cup winner he had.
He did.
And he's funny, and I think he's a better horse. I think this horse has got such a huge amount of talent. Barry Garrity rode him that day, and he's just like, he almost stepped over the fences, and they're not all that sort of soft at Carlisle.
No.
He's got a real engine in him, and he's picked up his rivals with great ease. Now, there's a big difference between winning that graduation race and the Lexus, but John Joe wouldn't send him for the Lexus unless he thought it had a really big chance.
Yeah.
I've already backed this horse at 34 for the Gold Cup. In such an open year, and I've got some professional friends of mine keep Silvini Conti's going to win the Gold Cup. There's more chance of me marrying Julia Roberts than Silvini Conti winning the Gold Cup. Horses don't win it third time of asking, and he's a horse that's not suited by the terrain of Cheltenham, nor is he likely to be suited by the faster going as well. And there are a lot of unexposed performers coming up behind him in the hierarchy of staying chases, and I really like this horse, Shunt the Front Door. I think he's a very, very good animal. Appreciably better than he showed in winning at Fairy House and Carlisle.
Very interesting, Paul. I'm going to have to look back on all his races now.
Have a look. He's a lovely, scopy individual. I love him to bits.
A typical John Joe type.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
My one actually ran today, Zero Shades of Grey. We're recording this on Thursday, by the way, so check out his Utoxeter win today. It was fantastic.
You liked him a big lot, didn't he? Yeah.
He's been so impressive on his first 2 hurdle starts. I mean, let's not forget, he ran an okay race in the Champion Bumper. He'd only had 4 runs prior to it, which is more than a lot of them have, but this horse is one that takes a lot of time to get going, and he was never going to be a bumper horse.
No.
He was going to be the making over the bigger fences. He started with a 20-length decimation of his rivals in the Utoxeter maiden hurdle, sent off a very warm order at 10-11, never looked in doubt of scoring that day. And the same today, where he took the step up to 3 miles in his stride. Really fantastic victory. Beat a Richard Johnson ridden horse who was well fancied in the market again as the second favourite. He beat him by 16 lengths easily. I love his cruising speed, and I love his ability to recover from a mistake. He's going to make a really fantastic chaser, but I think this could be the horse that puts Neil King on the map and Trevor Whelan. You find these flagship horses that suddenly come out of smaller yards, and if he does, and if he shows them. I don't know what his distance is. He showed enough pace over 2-mile 4, but he showed today that 3 miles is also his trip. I think he could be a very big horse this year.
I think Neil King's got some good horses already this year.
And they're in fantastic form, him and Trevor Whelan.
He knows how to train. Sometimes the obvious escapes us, right?
Yeah.
So my second horse to follow is the most obvious horse in training, which is Sprinter Sacra, because I think now he's available at 3-1 in a place. I think 11-4 mainly and 5-2 for the Champion Chase. He doesn't go to the Tingle Creek. He's been taken out. That's been announced today. But I've just had a look at the anti-post list for the 2 mile chase, and that's horrendous. It's awful. And if he runs 10 to 12 pound below his best form when he won it 2 years ago, he'll still win the Champion Chase. Yeah, I suppose you're taking a wee bit of a chance about his health and whether the heart sort of problem comes back again. But he went to Newmarket for 4 days last week to have a total MOT, and they said there's no problem at all. And they said there's very little chance of having that palpitation again in running in a race. We don't know until he puts on the pressure.
But still fantastic news.
And Nicky Henderson almost joked, he said, oh my God, the next obvious race for him to go for is the Desert Orchid Chase, which of course is the race.
Yeah,
exactly. The problem. But I just think sometimes we can be very, very blinkered about certain things. But Sprinter Sacre, what price would he be if he not had that problem? Well, there'd be no offers in the anti-post list. And I just think he's worth taking a chance on at that price for the Champion Chase. Definitely
agree. Always been a fan of Sprinter Sacre. Just exactly what you want in a 2 mile chaser. And exactly what you want in a 2 mile hurdler, Paul, is for him, the machine.
Agree.
I've loved this horse ever since. I remember it was the 28th of December last year, and I was at home just kind of flicking the channels, flicking between the various sport that was on that day. And my eye was pretty much hooked out of my eye by Faugheen winning a Grade 3 over 3 miles in terrible heavy ground. He just looked so easy. He did it from the front. We all know what he can do. He showed it at Ascot. It was pretty much as faultless as it can be, barring 5 out, where he wasn't that fluent. But you can forgive him a mistake on his first run back. He goes on any ground. He's won over 2 miles. He won over 2 mile 5 in the Neptune. The Neptune, I still think, was one of the most impressive races at Cheltenham last year, considering how much pressure he was under going around the turn and going up the hill. I'm tempted by his 5-2. I know that's incredibly short for now, and the Champion Hurdle division is by far the strongest of any of the championship races at the moment. But I really, really like this horse. One of my favourite jumpers for many years.
Were you surprised they didn't send him chasing straight away?
No, because I thought Vorteau would probably make a better chaser. I thought Faugheen was probably the better Champion Hurdle candidate, as Faugheen showed when he won at Punchestown by 12 lengths, beating the stablemate Basilito.
He's got a tremendous engine. And my third horse is another Willie Mullins horse, is Valsa Lido, who was a really nice novice hurdler last season. I've not seen a better novice hurdler from a jumping perspective than last year. And I think he was overfaced somewhat. I don't know why he was put in the Supreme Novices.
Third string, wasn't he?
And he actually was probably travelling one of the best coming down the hill, and then class told. But he was always going to be a chaser. You mentioned Vertour, who hopefully is going to go for the Arkle.
Yeah.
This horse will go for the 2.5 mile novice chase. Made a really nice debut. First time out just over a week ago, and he jumped impeccably. The great thing about him is, not only is his jumping great, he's got a huge engine inside. And novice hurdling was just a starting point for him. He is a chaser, pure and simple. And I've already backed him at 18 for that 2.5 mile novice chase at the Cheltenham Festival. So I'm on anti-post on my 3, but I think Shut the Front Door is a tremendous bet for the Gold Cup each way.
So he's your strongest.
He's I mean, you can still get 28-1 in the place about him. I think he probably must be slightly bigger on the exchanges as well. So he would be the one I would pick out as from a punting perspective, being the value for money at the moment. If you were to put your hat on one of yours, what would it be?
Faugheen, it has to be. I know I've only picked hurdlers in this, but
he's an engine, isn't he?
He basically, he is. He's a quick jumper. He's shown he can do, as I said before, he's shown he can do it over any distance, any ground. He's just waiting for a big gun to take him on. I can't wait for that day. And I hope it's before Cheltenham. So if he does get beaten, his price goes out, and then proven Cheltenham form takes hold again.
And just before Cheltenham, maybe we'll come back in the studio and we'll do an update on this.
Yeah, a new year
add or take away.
Exactly.
Great stuff.
Exactly. A transfer window, shall we say.
I like it.
Right, you've got 6 horses to sink your teeth into there. Join us for our PJ and Dunkley video right after this. See you then.